Good evening. My name is Derek Austin Johnson. I am a horror writer, and tonight I am going to be reading from my story, It's Always Ourselves We Find in the Sea. This you can find in the most recent issue of Chthonic Matter Quarterly. With that, let me jump in and begin. Getting to the island always unnerved Destin. No matter his age or the number of times he visited, driving from the mainland meant taking the causeway, climbing more than 70 feet above the western bay's surface. As a child, he was certain the winds whistling through the vent windows of his parents' car would toss them into the water. He used to wonder how often it happened to others, how many cars rested at the bottom of the bay, their hoods and trunks caked with sand and sprouting sea life. He felt that now in the air-conditioned sedan as he reached the causeway's apex, the island before him clustered with buildings stretching to the rim of beach. Beyond, the water churned, a mixture of brown muck and green algae. He could almost taste the acrid salt and decaying vegetation. His foot tapped the brake as the car descended and entered the island. On his radio, a newscaster's voice fought its way through static. The police arrested a woman after discovering the bodies of her 3 children in a suburb near where he lived. She used a steak knife to open their bellies, then offered their entrails to the limestone shrine snaked with polished obsidian and slick with mud. The newscaster delivered the story by rote before switching to weather. Destin switched it off upon hearing the bayous were flooding and wondered if his home was underwater. On the dashboard, the temperature gauge climbed above 90 degrees. The air conditioner roared as cool air blasted from the vents, plastering his shirt to his damp armpits. It was going to be humid when he got out of the car, and hot. On either side of the road, wooden houses stood on stilts or sagged on cement blocks. All needed painting, patches of rough gray showing through white siding like open gangrenous wounds. He turned. Behind a black iron fence, a mansion towered over the neighborhood, and brick by-turns deep red or bleached pink. 2 dark windows on the second floor gazed over the road, watching his car pass through the island's center as it headed toward the eastern beaches. And then he was at the shore. Waves crashed on powdery sand, the froth crowned with seaweed as it dumped clumps of thorny sargassum along the shoreline. On the beach were embedded pearlescent spheres, splashes of rainbow reflecting from their surfaces. A pier jutted out toward the sea, a Ferris wheel rolling among the buildings, dotted with blinking amber lights at its end. Shadows slip from them and stretch across the water like tendrils of ink. Beyond, the gray sky merged with the water, erasing the horizon's dividing line. He found a place to park the car at the pier and sat for several moments without turning off the engine. It was a surprise to see the carnival open this late in the year, as traditional seasonal tourism ended and the school year began. The absence of people on the beach didn't surprise him, especially not after the advisory warnings on television and online. He touched his phone's screen. An exclamation point blinked in a red triangle. It was too hot. The phone would need to cool down before he could use it again, a common occurrence these days. From his shirt, he removed a photo. The 3-inch by 3-inch, though not perfectly square, image had yellowed from exposure to ultraviolet light, yet remained distinct. 2 teenagers, a young man and woman, stood on a beach. Wiry and angular, he leaned against a Chevy Nova, hands pressed against the front fender as if he was about to push himself away. Hands on hips, one knee bent, She wore sunglasses, hiding most of her face, and a striped bikini hiding little. Messy hair piled on top of her head. He offered an embarrassed, unsure smile. Her mouth was closed, lips pursed, conveying a challenge. Thank you again for joining me, everybody. Again, my name is Derek Austin Johnson. The story is It's Always Ourselves We Find in the Sea in Chthonic Matter Quarterly. And you can find me online at derecaustinjohnson.com, also on the Book of Faces and Instagram, as well as Blue Sky. Have a good evening.
Perfect.
Fantastic.